Hey guys, how are you all? Hope so you all are doing well. So let's start the story without any further conversation. Well, this is the last part. Jimin come downstairs after getting ready. After getting ready, once again he sees Yoongi who's already looking at him. Jimin ignore him. He sees Taeyang and him. Taeyang, Minnie, you are looking so cute. Jimin, haha, really? You too, my little brother. He said, but Taeyang make pout. Jimin, what happened? Taeyang, Jiminy, you know mom and dad is thinking to do my Jimin, what? With whom? Jiang, with that honey bunny. He said, and to make up our Jimin, really? Then I am so happy. Jiang, you are happy, but I don't want to do. But I don't want to do with him. Jimin, then with whom? With whom you do? Jiang, no one. I stay like this. Jimin signed to see his brother. Jimin, no. You listen, mom and dad. He's good boy, Jiang. It's just you both always behave like a kids, nothing else. Jiang, still Jiminy. Jimin, there is no. Still, you listen, mom, dad, and do, okay? Jiang nodded with a pout. Jimin, he come or not? Dang, he come. He must be with Young. He said, and Jimin nodded. Then he met with his parents and such congratulations to his Mrs. Min introduced Jimin with every guest. Some become so happy to see him, and some start to do gossips. Jungkook and Jiang is talking with each other normally as Jimin eyes is on them. He them if they do. He don't talk with them. Jimin stands on the side watching all this. They cut the cake soon. Yoongi come and stand beside him. Jimin see him but he don't talk with him. Yoongi, why I am feeling like someone is ignoring me? He said, and Jimin didn't say anything. Yoongi, why you are doing this with me? He said, and Jimin looked at him. Jimin, really? You think this? I did. Yoongi, oh, you are not doing? He raised his eyebrow. Jimin, no, I don't, Yoongi. He said innocently, Yoongi, don't talk with me. Don't look at me with your innocent eyes. Trust me. You look, he said, and Jimin signed Yoongi. By the way, what is this? He pointed on Chiang and Jungkook, and then Jimin tell him, Yoongi, make a face. Yoongi, I understand well. That's good. Jimin, they look good, right? Yoongi, yeah, but not more than us. Jimin see him and smile. Jimin don't know he is feeling like something going to happen. And then they go to his parents and they start to cut the cake. They all give them wishes and enjoy the party well. Now it's time for time for Jimin parents going Mrs. Park. Jimin, Jiang must be tell you everything already. Jimin, haha, yeah, he do, and I am happy for him. Mrs. Park, look at him. He is saying no. Jimin, he won't. I talk with him. Mrs. Park, Jimin, come home for some days. We miss you so much, son. She said, and Jungi looked at Jimin, who stands behind his mom, and he thinks something, and then Jungi, yeah, mom, why not? I make plan with Jiang and then tell you. Jiang, why don't you come at my and then stay with us for some days? Jimin, perfect. I come before you, Jiang. Yeah, it will be fun. he said, and they meet with each other. Their parents upstairs. Also go upstairs. Yoongi and Jimin is still downstairs. Yoongi went to him. Yoongi, so you are making plans, huh? Jimin, it's been a long time. I don't call my brother. My parents miss me so much, so it's good if I go, right, Yoongi? He said, and Yoongi rolled his eyes and go. Jimin chuckled to see him and to go behind him. Jimin come in. Jimin come in the room. He sees Yoongi, who sits on the bed after freshening up. He also fresh up and sit in front of him. Yoongi see him and then again start to type on his laptop. Jimin, sometimes I feel like I do wrong to you. He said and take his laptop. Yoongi, me too. Jimin, how can you see? How can you see? I am so cute, sweet, and also innocent. Yoongi, I know how much. Jimin, how can I know how much? He said and about to take the laptop. But Jimin stopped him. Jimin, no way, let's watch the movie. Yoongi, sleep, see the time. You know what? Yoongi, are you too? He said and Jimin placed his laptop on the table and she lay on the bed. Yoongi, Jimin, go and do your work. He said and turned his side. Yoongi smiled. Yoongi smiled to see him. He know Jimin is at him. He go and take the laptop. Jimin eyes widen to see this. His pouch become more big. Jimin, I don't talk with him. He think and just 2 months pass. Yoongi back. Jimin didn't move, but Yoongi turned him. Jimin, what you want now? He said. Yoongi, you want to watch movie at this time when you sleep, huh? And then you said, Yoongi, I am feeling sleepy. I have and many more. Jimin, so what? So what if I don't tell you whom I tell? Yoongi, I am not saying this. Sleep peacefully, yaar. Jimin, you boring person, sleep. Yoongi, if you don't want to sleep, then let me. Jimin, no, no, I am sleepy. Good night, he said, and Jimin hid his face. Yoongi chuckled to see him. Yoongi, you want to wake Jimin? Why you are sleeping now? Jimin, good night, he said, and Yoongi smiled to see him. He on his forehead, and then he also sleep. Next day, Yoongi get ready for going office. Jimin is still sleeping. He went to him and sit in front. He went to him and sit in front of him. Jimin sleeping while making a pouch. Yoongi on his spot. Jimin, Yoongi, let me sleep. He said and turned. Yoongi, you have to go academy. Jimin, no, I don't go today. Yoongi, why? Jimin, I am sleepy. I have if I wake up. He said and Yoongi nodded. Yoongi, okay then. I am going office. You sleep. Jimin, how? Wait, he said and sit on the bed. He started rubbing his eyes by his fist. Yoongi held his hand. Yoongi, don't do that. Jimin, don't go anywhere. I come in 10 minutes, he said, and go for fresh up. Yoongi signed to see him, and Jimin never let him go like this. They always do. Hmm. Breakfast together and, of course, dinner also. Sometimes Yoongi come home after doing dinner. Yoongi come home for lunch also. Jimin Jimin come out, he see him. Jimin, why don't you take leave from office for some days and he goes somewhere? And we, Jimin, oh, Yoongi, oh, where you want to go, Jimin? Paris? Yoongi, I don't have. They come downstairs. They come downstairs as usual, doing. But Jimin stopped when he see Nancy sit on the couch. Yoongi see him, and then he found he followed his gaze, and he also see Nancy who sits on the couch. His eyes turned to see her. Mr. and Mrs. Min sit there looking so, and Nancy is also looking down. Mr. Min see Yoongi. He don't know what she said. Jimin see the situation. He is not understanding what's all happening. Okay. Yoongi, what's all happening here and what she is doing here? Miss Raman, this is what we are going to ask you. What's all happening? Yoongi, what mean what? Miss Raman, what's this? He said, and the file on his Jimin picked the file and he looked at Yoongi. He opened the file and Yoongi see the file. He looked at Nancy. Yoongi saw what I do. Mrs. Min, this is your Yoongi. He almost and Jimin can't process anything. Yoongi, you know me well, Dad. I can't do this. Mr. Min, I don't believe her. If she don't show me the video, she said. Then Yoongi shocked Jimin. What the? I don't meet with her for months. Nancy, please, Yoongi. We meet some days ago. Tell me you don't go. Tell everyone you don't go. Yoongi, I go with my friends, Nancy, and there we don't meet. And there we don't meet. Yoongi, we meet, but Mr. Min, on yourself, Yoongi. You have still you do this. Yoongi, I don't do anything, Dad. You are her. Mr. Min, Yoongi. Now you don't admit your, but you do. And from now on, she stay in your room. Yoongi, what? No way, Dad. And I don't do anything. You have to meet. This is all. Mr. Min, nothing is Yoongi. You do the and now you have to admit and also she's going to be the he said and Yoongi becomes so. Nancy sit there while looking down. Mrs. Min is silent all the time. Mr. Min go in his room. Nancy go in her room. Nancy no auntie just give me a place in this mansion. A small room, I stay there. Mr. Min, do as I said, Nancy. You go in the room. He said and sit on the couch. Nancy go from there. Mrs. Min also go from there without saying anything and Mr. Min go office. Jimin didn't move from his place or he said something. He is like lost somewhere. Yoongi see him. Yoongi, Jimin, you trust me? He said and Jimin see him. He smiled lightly. Jimin, I do, Yoongi. Yoongi, really? Jimin nodded. Jimin, yes. And I know she is saying she is not even uncle believe her, but we do something, okay? Okay. And Yoongi, thank you so much, Jimin. Only you trust me, Jimin, because I know, Yoongi, you never do this, he said. And Yoongi back. He looked at him with eyes. Yoongi, you trust me that much? Jimin smiled and nodded. He placed his head. Nor did he place his head on his. He seems to be, but he know how much he is. He know she is saying, but still he don't have any other option for now to do something. Expect watching the situation. Jimmy. Jimin is really so strong. Okay, well, the next scene starts, and here is the scene start. Jimin come in. Jimin come in different room. He sent Yoongi office surprisingly. They both don't do the breakfast. Jimin don't let Yoongi go without breakfast, but today he don't stop him. He also don't do Jimin sit on the bed with his eyes turned and on one by one start to roll from his eyes. He closed his eyes. Why his life is doing this with me? If few months is so beautiful for me, then now this one is also. Mrs. Min come, she see her. Mrs. Min, Jimin, son. Jimin, look at her. Jimin, no, auntie, come sit, Mrs. Min. Jimin, sir. Son, you trust Yoongi? Jimin more than anything. If the whole world, if the whole world go him, I still spot him. Mrs. Min, thank you so much, my son. Thank you so much, my son. Always stay with him. She's Mrs. Min. Yes, son, but your dad trust him. Now, Jimin, everything become alright. I make everything alright. He said, and Mrs. Min nodded. Mrs. Min, why you sit here? Jimin, she's in the room. Mrs. Min, I talk with your dad. How can he do this? You stay in another room. Jimin, for now, don't do anything, auntie. Mrs. Min, he replied, and Yoongi seen the message. Jimin smiled. He is waiting for his message. Yoongi, are you? Jimin, no. Why would I? Yoongi, what we do now? Jimin, everything become alright. I trust you. Yoongi, I come home early. Jimin, I wait for you. He said, and their conversation ended here. Jimin started looking outside. What she do expect this? Jimin don't come out from his room. He see the time. It's Yoongi time to come. He sighed and stand up. He about to come out from the room, but he stopped when Jack come and stand in front of him. He folded his hand. Jimin didn't look at him. He about to go, but he held his hand. Hmm. Jimin, what the you are doing? He said, and Jack started laughing. Jack, oh, what happened with you, brother? You think he can do this? Jimin, no. And I know this is all Jack. It's all your and her plan. Jack, how can you this, Jimin? That's my concern. Jack, I guess I gave you offer, he said, and take his steps back. Take a step toward him, Jimin. Take his steps back. Jack him and come to me, Jimin. I will. But this never happens, he said, and Jack hold his hand. Jack, I know other way. Hey, Jimin, I am trying my best, Yoongi, don't you? But I think you want to, Jack. Don't forget, she's my brother himself leave me, Jimin, and this is never gonna happen. Voiceover time lost me only. This is never gonna happen. Yoongi, let Jack, let's see. Jimin, get from here. Otherwise, I don't waste time to you. Jack, don't do that in this way, at least you. He said, and Jimin feeling. He heard the car voice. Jack, stand up. He know Yoongi come. Jack, see you soon. He said and go from there. Jimin in mind. Your presence is enough to me from. He think, and with instruments Yoongi come in the room. Jimin see him. He didn't waste time. Yoongi, what happened? Jimin, nothing. You come early. Yoongi, yeah, but what you are doing? And Jimin, I don't go. Hmm. I don't go in room. She is there. Yoongi sighed. Yoongi, huh? What I do, Jimin? Jimin, for now, relax. We think. After some times, what we do now? I am hungry. Let's go downstairs. You make coffee for us. Yoongi, huh? Okay, he said, and go. For fresh up, Jimin already put his and Yoongi some clothes in the wardrobe, and then he go downstairs. Not before telling Yoongi, I am going downstairs, Yoongi, you come downstairs. He said and go. And here Yoongi is really feeling sleepy. What I do, yeah, it's 1:20, but I sleep whole afternoon. Also, I take a long nap. Hmm. Jimin make the Jimin make the coffee. He sit on the chair, waiting for him when Yoongi come. Yoongi, you said I make the coffee. Jimin, I think this, but then I thought you just come from office. Why not I make the coffee by myself? He said, and they started talking. When Mr. Min come, Jimin becomes silent to see him. Mrs. Min also come. Mr. Min, we need to talk, Yoongi. He said, and Yoongi nodded. He looked at Jimin, who's looking down. Maybe he know what he want to say. Jimin, excuse me. He about to go, Mr. Min. Wait, Jimin. You have to stay here, Jimin. Mr. Min, come, sit here, son. This is your right to know all, to know all this. He said, and Jimin sit beside Yoongi, who holds his hand. Both look at each other, and then their parents come. Mr. Min, that's true. She's with you, Yoongi. You have to. Yoongi, dad, why you are not blaming me? Mr. Min, enough, Yoongi. You do what you have to do now. You listen me. If you don't do this, all don't leave this and everywhere our Yoongi dad, nothing happens like this. She is not even Mrs. Min, she is Yoongi. It's true, Yoongi. I don't know how it's happened. Mrs. Min, we understand, son. You don't do anything. You don't do anything. Hmm. But now what? But now what? Now what we do? She is your name. Mr. Min, Jimin, tell him to her the day after tomorrow. Jimin looked at him, Mr. Min. Now you have to do this. I don't see my like this. He said and stand up. Yoongi also stand up. Yoongi, no dad. I don't. I don't do with that. I take Jimin with me and we go from here. Mr. Min, and here we buy the Yoongi give me time to all this. It's a dad. Mr. Min do with the and after after that do whatever you want, Yoongi. Fine. If you don't listen me then I also heard Mr. Min Jangsuk. I don't do. Hear what Jimin do. Hmm. Wither. He said and Mr. Min become Jimin sit there hearing everything is rolling from his eyes. Jimin Yoongi too with her. He said and they all went silent. Yoongi see Jimin who stand up. Yoongi, what are you saying, Jimin? Jimin YouTube with the Yoongi never. Jimin, listen, Yoongi. Dad is right. It's about his Yoongi and it's about our life. Jimin, when we know you don't do anything, I believe you. In future, you everything. When what's the problem? Yoongi, if I can't, Jimin, you will. I know. I believe you. Why you are thinking too much? Listen, uncle. Yungi, but. Yungi, but. Hmm. Yungi, but. Jimin. Jimin, this is not. It's not our time, Yungi. This is not our time. He said, and Yungi stays silent. His parents also know. Only Jimin can take him. Only Jimin can take him understand the situation. If Yungi don't listen, if Yungi don't listen anyone, Jimin, I am with you. If I leave you for a second, then you talk with me, you do all this for me, and now I am you. He said, and Jungi see him. He know Jimin is trying to be Jungi. I am still not understanding anything. He said and go from there. Jimin sit on the chair, Mr. Min. I expect this from your son. Jimin, I do this, uncle, you said. Otherwise, you have to believe him. He don't do anything. He said and go from there. Also, Mrs. Min, you are doing nothing. You are just making his life. He's my son. I know him. He don't do anything. She also said to go. Hmm. Okay. And I am wondering why you listen her. She said and also go. Leave Mr. Min leave Mr. Min in his thoughts. Jimin come in the room, he sees Yoongi and smile. He went to him and sit on. Yoongi look into another side. Jimin make a pouch. He turn his face, but Yoongi don't look at him. Jimin on his many charms, but Yoongi seems like not in mood. Jimin see him, he make a pout. Jimin, you now you always do this. He said and huh, grow off. Okay, Yoon is feeling so sleepy, and I don't do the voiceover. Okay, huh? 28. तेरह 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 La same. He back and didn't look at him and start. Yoongi, if you are not that much, then why you even try to do? You just don't leave me. We pass every hour way, he said, and Yoongi nodded. He can't see. Jimin saw he think. You mean now it's my turn, he said, and next you all know what happened. And here I think Nancy see I had the same. Hmm. So it's always happens. So Jimin is so Yoongi back. He hides his face. Jimin feels something. He know Jimin don't know how to calm him. He himself want to. Jimin Jungi, now don't do this. If you do this, I go home. Yeah, Taeyang call me also. Jungi look at him. Jimin wipe his hand on his eyes. Jungi, if you said this, then I will myself and then go wherever you want. He said, and Jimin chuckled. Jimin, I think you me. Jungi, you think I can do this? Jimin sign as no. Jimin sign as no. No, and both each other and hide their faces. Both are silently. Sometimes it's good. After sometimes both don't know when they sleep in each other. Nancy is passing by the room. She stopped and see them, how they are sleeping. She stopped for a moment and see them. Nancy don't know. She is feeling something else. Jack come. Jack, what you are seeing? He said and see them. Jack, wow, you are watching them. Nancy, Jack, what we are doing is right. Jack, of course, Nancy, what you are thinking? Nancy, huh? Nothing, she said and see them. Jack, what you are thinking to take your step back? He said, and Nancy didn't say anything. His eyes is on them. Who is sleeping peacefully? Jack, don't forget he take what is he said, and Nancy closed the door and she go. Jack, now what happened with her? He said and go behind Nancy and she didn't said anything and go from there. It's for Jack and here with Yoongi and Jimin. Yoongi sit on the bed and Jimin also sit. Both are sleeping peacefully like this. And here Yoon is also with. I don't know what happened with my hands. My hands is bad. I don't speak the full sentence, but you all need to understand. I will sleep like this. I will surely sleep like this. Okay. Nancy stand on Nancy stand on the side. The weather is beautiful today. She sees Yoongi and Jimin laughing. She never see Yoongi laugh like this. Both are enjoying their moments. Nancy in mind. This is really right what you are doing, Nancy. She think and cheer Jack. Jack, hey, what you are thinking? She look at Jack and sign as no Nancy nothing. Jack, so you are going to do this. Seems like my brother is so happy. He said, and Nancy, see him, Nancy. He is happy with Jack. Sometimes it's not true what you are saying. Nancy, you have to think about your own words. Hmm, you have to think about your own words. This she sat down and go from there. Jack, while you are making the things more, huh? I have to do something now. Only I think I can, Dad. He think and go from there to talk with his dad. अच्छा इधर बंदा क्या करे मैं थर्ड लास्ट सीन स्टार्ट हो गया which is this is the third last scene. It's 50 minutes. Well, even this is the third last scene. Jimin sit in Jimin sit in the room. Is not stopping from his eyes. It's evening time. In morning he is laughing and not see him. He holds his own hands and just by the thought of Yoongi, Jimin sees so many in there and now this is the biggest one. Yoongi is with Nancy. Nothing is enough to make him and moreover he stay at his room. While Jimin have to stay in this room and Yoongi will be with this is also his father order he take care of Nancy. Jimin don't know Jimin don't know Allah मैं नहीं जानती जिमिन क्या नहीं जानता हाँ Jimin don't know hmm what he do. It's almost 12 a.m. Of course they get and now Mrs. Min tell him he is feeling so. How can he his Jimin sit on the bed? The blanket is on. Hold his and Yoongi photo and see. Some more time passed, but Jimin didn't sleep and then the door knocked. He see the time. It's 2:30. Who come at this time? He slowly go and open the door and someone him Jimin Mitwal if the person don't Jimin Yoongi didn't He stayed like this for some times and then back. Jimin see his jacket a little bit. Here's his jacket and outside is the rain. Also, Jimin, from where you come? Yoongi go and his jacket. He lay on the bed. Jimin the door and he went to him. He sit beside him. Yoongi put his hat on his and he hold his hand. Jimin, I am asking you something, Yoongi. Where were you all the time? Jimin, I am sleepy, Jimin. Jimin, just give me answer. Yoongi, I am with my friends, Jimin. And Nancy, Yoongi, she must be in her room, right? He sat and on his hand. Jimin may sound cheer, but she's signed in real life. Jimin, I thought you were young, it's never gonna happen. He said and closed his eyes. Yoongi, I am sleepy, Jimin. Jiminy, he said, and Jimin lightly smiled, hand on the bed. Yoongi, you don't sleep, Jimin. I am not feeling sleepy. Yoongi, now not, now also not. Jimin, no, now I sleep. Yoongi, sometimes try to wake up for you. Also, Jimin means Yoongi means wait. He sat and on his Yoongi, don't wait much. He sat and Jimin Yoongi and sleep. Yoongi, okay, he sat and Jimin also smiled to see him. And both fell in sleep. Next day, Jimin wake up first. Huh? And what I said. The next extra, well, this is the third last scene. Yeah, Jimin, someone knock on the door. He opened the door and seen Nancy. He didn't say anything. Nancy, I know Yoongi is here. I am here to tell you if someone asks you where were he, then tell he is with, don't tell anyone. Jimin nodded and she go. Without saying anything, Jimin come and sit beside Yoongi. He started to think about Nancy. Jimin in mind, why she want no one know. Even like this, she can make her way more easy. He think and Yoongi wake up also. Jimin see him and smile. He ruffle his ears. Jimin wake up. You have to go office. Yoongi, no, I got yesterday, so I don't. He said tantrum. Jimin, hey, Yoongi? Hey, why this for, huh? He said, and Jimin didn't say anything. He about to stand up, but Yoongi him in 1 second. Yoongi, me now, it's my turn. He said and started. Yoongi's like, and Jimin, I am going downstairs. He said and went from the Yoongi chuckled to see him. You're so sleepy. Oh, यार मैं दो जो मैं turn करना देखूंगी. I am feeling so sleepy. I myself don't know what I do. Hey, यार क्या है? हाँ, reacted on sent you chat. Snapchat. Okay, this is the second last scene. Time passed like this in the blink of eyes. 8 months pass. In this 8 month pass, Jimin don't feel something changed, much as he is same with Yoongi. Yoongi him so much they enjoy their moments so much. Nancy never tried to talk with Yoongi, nor she come between them. She always stay in her room. Yoongi also don't talk with her, but Jimin take care of her, and she always talk politely. Sometimes Jimin think what happened with her. She never asks Yoongi for her rights and the other things. She don't talk with anyone. If they talk, Jimin always start the conversation. Jack talk with her. Jack talk with her, but Nancy most of the time him. She don't talk with him, and Jimin is feeling something, but she stays silent. He never asks from anyone. Right now, Nancy sits on the couch with her, and Jimin. If you want something, call me. Nancy, Jimin, can we talk? She said, and Jimin see her. Jimin, he sits on the couch. No one is it at home. Mrs. Min and Mr. Min go for shopping. Yoongi is in office and Jack don't know where is it. Nancy, 8 months past, Jimin. It's been 8 months. You are Yoongi. How can you do this? Jimin didn't say anything. Jimin, he is with me. With me, it's enough, he said, and after some time, Nancy, Jimin, today I tell you something which I have to tell you soon, but I realize later, but I am glad I realize, she said, and looking down. Jimin, what was that? Nancy, Jimin, me and Yoongi isn't. I never give him time at all. And then he got cheese. So happy with you. I may don't Yoongi ever. I agree about this. And maybe Yoongi also knows somewhere, but him, you tell me. You tell me how to smile and also how to live life. Jimin, I go 1 year ago when he said he don't me, but something happens. I have to come back mm, and do all this. And I ask for also, Jimin, what happened, Nancy? It's true. I am the and the is from Min family, but you are right. It's not Yoongi. It's Jack. I don't tell you how it's happened, but it's happened. When I tell Jack, he said this is a good opportunity like this I catch and Jungi and it's happened. But Jimin, now I am feeling something really different. Why I am your life, my now don't have anyone, not even, and it's too far. Me nothing else until now doing that. Jimin, what? Nancy nodded. Nancy nodded. And here and start. Nancy, my is not. It's me too. Mera. She thought. She said, and Jimin. Nothing happened, Nancy. Nancy sighed as no. Nancy, I'm sorry for what I do, Jimin. Jimin, please, and take care of it. It's not his. Jimin, Nancy, Jack, no, it's his. Nancy nodded, Nancy, but he said it's mine. He never accept. Nancy, I decide on the day when I see you and Yoongi in the garden, roaming and giggling. I don't do anything, but I have to Yoongi to stay somewhere. I don't have any hope, so you understand and take care. Jimin, Nancy. Huh. Our Gemini is so innocent. But here Nancy is also right. Hmm. Nancy, I will Jimin, it's true. Jimin, it's true. You don't set everything become fine or etc. I know and it's true. She said and Jimin stays silent. She plays hand. Nancy, promise me you always take care of him. Gave him the and she said and Jimin see her. What's the of the little one? He nodded. Nancy, don't tell anyone except Yoongi as he will be the Jimin nodded. Jimin, what you did, you realize it's enough. Nancy, me, I want to peacefully. Jimin, We try our best to you, and yeah, I take care of him, he said, and she Jimin. Okay, so sometimes the situation come like this. Huh. This is the second last scene. She is going to, and now why Jimin don't her? She realized that if someone really, then it's Jack, nothing else. Jimin makes sure he do this. He tell Yoongi everything he decide. So it's finished on halfway and then half. Hmm, that's good, bro. And here is my finally last scene and the third last text. 5 years later, Nancy gave to a boy, and he is so beautiful, and she don't even see him. She said if she see, then she surely start. And Jimin said everyone. No one said something. He is the of Min Yoongi and Min Jimin. Jimin tell everything to Yoongi, and he also heard. And about Jack, Yoongi don't waste time. He tell his dad, so he do, and Jack talk, they sent him to the Mr. and Mrs. Go to visit him. Mr. and Mrs. Min go to visit him, but Yoongi now never go. And now Yunjin is running in the living room, and I just 5 years passed. That's why I do this. Last scene and the second last text, and the small Minjin is playing with his toys. He is 10 months old, and Jimin is trying to Yunjin. Jimin, you come here or not? Yunjin, no, I am not hungry. He said, and Jimin could speak something. Yoongi come. Yunjin, dad, he said, and he ran to him, Yoongi him, and on his cheeks Jimin smiled, and Yoongi go. He sit on the couch. Minjin also went to him and tried to sit. Yoongi sit him also on his forehead. Jimin signed to see them. He give the fruits to Yoongi. Jimin, I am going. Yoongi, huh? You again, mom? Yunjin, I don't do anything. He is always like this, he said, and Yoongi also giggled. Huh. Okay, so final last scene and the last text finish said with about and Yoongi go at his cuteness, and then they start to playing. Don't eat food. Jimin signed to see them, but he smiled. He's so happy in his life. Finally, after a long time, a happy finally. Until and start. Here, Jimin have to take care of everything. Bye bye. See you soon, Sang. I hope so you like the video. Bye. Uh huh.